here with Nora K, and we're going to be talking about her show, Whisper Naked Shadow. How are you doing, Nora?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you, Frank? Thanks for the invite.
Oh, I'm doing very well. Whisper Naked Shadow, can you go ahead and kind of run down what this is for us, this series?
Yes. So it's a mystery sitcom, what we call it. It's a short form series that focuses on 5 friends that deal with an unexpected mystery that happens in their lives. And we watch them kind of try and untangle it.
That's exactly it. I'm just going to kind of put this out there. They wake up with, I want to say, powers? Would you call them powers?
Yes. So I do. I would call them kind of superpowers, but some people call it curse. Yeah. I call it superpower. It depends how you look at it. I've always, when I was writing this, because I'm the writer of it as well, what I was inspired by was all these superhero movies, and I love that genre, and I'm a big fan of all superhero things. And I always wondered, most of these powers that people have are super useful. You know, you can fly, you can read someone's mind, you can be invisible, you can turn things into gold. How come nobody ever has, or almost nobody ever has, anything that's really annoying and makes your life difficult? So my characters deal with powers that make their lives very difficult.
Yeah, that is for sure. That's true. Okay, so before we go too much farther into Whisper Naked Shadow, let's go and talk about you as a director. What made you pursue filmmaking or making a series?
So since I was a child, I always spent a lot of time making up stories in my head. You know, writing or storytelling was something that I spent a lot of time on. And as I was growing up, I did less and less of it. And I actually went to study law school first, and I became a lawyer for a while, for more than a decade. But I really missed that part of me that was creative, and that was the storyteller. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I finally found the courage to quit law and go and take some film classes and go to filmmaking and, really pursue the passion for me, that's storytelling.
Okay. Yeah, and it shows the passion in this project. There's a lot of those times where you could tell that took a lot of effort, that took a lot of time, and that only comes from somebody who has a passion for this. So that's really nice. Okay, what inspired you as a director or a filmmaker? What kind of projects out there you were talking about superheroes? Is there any particular superhero that really inspired you?
I love pretty much everything. So I want to open up by saying that I'm the type of person that goes to see every week everything that's released in the cinema. And I've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen everything. I will even go and see bad movies because I just love movies so much that I just want to see everything that's being put out there. So I don't really have a particular one superhero that I really love. I just love the genre, and I love cinematography as a whole. From Martin Scorsese to Adam Sandler, I love everything across all the genres. But I've always been very inspired by Martin Scorsese, and his filmmaking is amazing. And another director that I really admire is Wes Anderson, because his magical storytelling is so creative and so original and so full of emotions. So I try to also put that in my storytelling, creativity and emotions.
Some of the whimsicalness out of Anderson's films you can kind of see in this as well. Just the moments, like, for example, like the montage moments, they kind of feel almost whimsical. And I can see that out of a Wes Anderson film as well.
Oh, good. That's cool. Yeah, I like those moments as well.
What kind of roadblocks did you face when you were first starting out as a filmmaker?
I guess the very first one was facing my own fears. You have to face a lot of obstacles, not getting the right people to work with, not getting funding, not feeling like you're good enough for something. And I was really inspired by one speech that Ava DuVernay actually gave, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, when she said that these days, with all the technology that people have access to, there's really no reason not to tell stories. If you have a story, you have to go and just start making it. You don't wait for someone to empower you, to give you like a green light and blessing to tell you go and create. You just go out there and create. And I really felt inspired by this. And I started making small projects, for contests, for commercials, and then gradually work myself up to try something bigger.
Okay, that's great.
So I think my own fear was the biggest obstacle I actually had to overcome.
And that's a very good point. Is the fact that we live in such a great time where you go out there and make it and see what happens. That's a great way to say it. But let's talk about Whisper, Naked, Shadow now. Your characters were very interesting the way they played off each other. You could already feel their dynamics off each other. It carries on through. Like I even think that their abilities are related to who they are as a person. Is that something that you wanted to put in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That's great. So, a couple of your characters, I would like to, if you don't mind, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I really want them to go out there and check this out. But let's talk about a few of your characters. Robin, who has this whisper, is the whisper of the title. I think that
Right.
would be his superhero name, essentially.
Right.
He can't talk too loud, or he has like this like sonic boom. How
Right.
does that relate to him as a person?
So, without giving too much away,
Right. Yeah.
Robin is a person that always kind of struggled to stand up for himself, to find his voice. So now he's dealing with having to control his voice and face his voice, and other people all of a sudden hear him, even if he doesn't want to be heard. So that's something that he, as a person, has to face.
Let's next talk about Anne or Sophia, and she has the naked abilities. How does that relate to her personality?
So Sophia is someone that has been kind of, focusing on the outside of herself, and she likes to flirt a lot, and she likes to use her body as a weapon almost in her life. And all of a sudden, she's facing a situation where her body is always revealed. Her power is that she's always naked, no matter what she does. Everybody sees her as a naked woman, and all of a sudden, she has to really start learning how to value herself more and value her body.
I see. Yeah. Now, I'm wondering, and of course, you're the person to talk to about this. Is it more about her perception of herself or others' perception of her that's creating the situation?
I think it's a combination of both, but it's more of how careless she has been with her own value.
I see. Oh, okay. Wow. And then lastly, and honestly, my favorite character is Vicky, and she has this shadow going on with her. Can you explain how that is relating to her? I think this one is the one that I could like really want to explore more into.
Oh, good. And I want to ask you first, what makes it your favorite character? What about her
Well,
is it that you like?
I think I feel like she's hiding something, and she's also she
Hmm.
has some symptoms that I think is the best way to say it. You're like, oh, okay, I recognize these symptoms, and the shadow. You're like, is that her persona or you? It's the mystery for me is most heavily on her. I really want to see what's going on. I want to learn more
Hmm.
about her.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you're interested in her. She's a character that I also enjoy very much. Um, Vicky is a very introverted person that has a lot of secrets, that has trouble maybe facing the world, sharing herself with others, and she also has a little bit of self-destructive tendencies.
Hmm.
So when her shadow comes alive, it comes alive to actually try and harm her, and
Right.
she has to realize that the biggest enemy in her life is herself.
Okay. Yeah. This is such a wonderful cast. Now, how well did they stick with the script, or did you allow any ad libbing?
So I want to talk a little bit about the casting process because that has been a long process that took almost a year, maybe a year and a half before we found the right people
Oh
and put the
wow.
group together. And
Yeah.
I think the group of the talented actors that we cast is really good, and we are so happy that we've been recognized in various festivals for ensemble, awards.
Hmm.
And I think that really shows and translates on the screen as well. And as far as ad libbing, so we would always do a lot of takes that stick to the script. And then when we've had enough, I would give the actors some freedom to improvise, especially around some of the jokes. So, for example, Harvey, who is often a source of the comedic relief there, he would bring a lot of improvised things to the set.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's definitely the fun one to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, the montage scenes, it's fantastic. Okay, so yeah, the casting process took you a while, and it really shows that you guys took your time with this. You were talking about awards. Can you go ahead and speak to some of the awards that you've won?
Yes, so I submitted the series to a bunch of festivals, and to my delight and surprise, we were made official selections in about 10 festivals, and overall we were nominated for 25 awards.
Wow.
And we mostly it was for Anna for playing Sophia, and then for best sitcom or best drama we were nominated once, and for directing. And we actually won two awards for Anna for lead actress, one in Seoul in South Korea and one in New Jersey in the US. And then we won two awards of the best web series of the month, one in Italy and one in LA. So we are quite happy about all of that.
Congratulations. That's excellent.
And now, actually, because of all these festivals that we made it into, the show has played in 5 continents in the cinema, which to me, it's beyond my wildest dreams that are, small show made in Czech Republic with, Czech spoken in it, which is a language that only gets spoken in one small country in Europe. And now a show with it has been in the cinema in New Zealand, in Brazil, in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. It's amazing.
That is wonderful. Congratulations. That is a true testament to your efforts when you start to see it, spread along the world.
Thank you.
So you have these characters. Did the actors portray the characters you had envisioned when you first started out well, or did you have to change some of the characters to fit the actors?
I actually was trying to choose actors that were quite similar to the characters, and my actors often joke about that. They say that they feel like I must have known them, or they actually said I must have spied on them before to choose them, because they felt there were so many similarities between them and the characters. So most of them actually said that they felt like a part of their life is somehow part of their real life is somehow reflected in the characters that they play, be it the good stuff or the bad stuff about the characters. So I think we found people that had some of those qualities that the characters have.
Must make the filming process a little bit easier when you can count on the person to understand where the character's coming from.
Yeah, and I was most surprised by Robin, who is played by Radek Banka, who is a famous singer in the Czech Republic, and his media persona is quite extroverted, someone that is very outgoing and is not shy to talk to all of these people and everything. And when he shared with me that he actually in his earlier life, he faced similar challenges like his character, like Robin, I was really surprised, but he really felt like the character reflected what he had gone through when he was younger.
I'm glad you brought Robin up because when I was doing some research on these characters, and for him, he's the only one that has like these very broad, or like you said, he's very pop artist style
Uh-huh.
headshots, and I was like, that doesn't fit his character at all. Like his character is introvert almost, and he's a scientist of the group. And when you
Yeah.
see these images of him, we're like, who is this? It didn't fit very well.
That's the actual actor. So because he is a
Yeah.
known singer, he's got all of these, and he is his real life persona or his singer persona. He performs with a group called Gypsies, he said. So they have a very different style. Yes,
Did you use any of their music in the film or in the series?
we did not, but we plan on in season 2 because I
Okay,
love his music. Yes,
I'll have to look it up. That's interesting.
yeah.
For the location, where did you guys film this series?
So most of it we filmed in the Czech Republic, and we got a location where someone actually let us use their house. And I want to say that I'm so appreciative of that location because we basically moved a family out for at least a week, and they let us use their place. We just reorganized things a little bit, and then some parts were shot here in Brooklyn because we have some American actors that are part of the series as well.
Right.
So it's mostly in Czech Republic, but some in Brooklyn as well.
These streets, what town is that? Because those streets were like idyllic streets. They're beautiful.
Oh, it's Prague. So
Prague. Oh,
Prague
okay.
in Czech Republic, it's a beautiful city. Yes,
Oh yeah,
I highly recommend everyone to visit Prague. It's really nice.
it's beautiful. It's exactly like you guys would see on a postcard. It was really nice location.
Thank you.
Did you guys have to do any major costume designs? It doesn't seem like you did because most of them were wearing like what I would expect to wear. But did you have a hard time finding the clothes for them to work for this?
Well, actually, so we didn't have hard time finding it, but every character has very specific clothing. You know, when you look at it, especially Vicky, and
Yeah.
all of the clothing she has there's a lot of illustrations on it, and we actually have our own illustrator. So all of the clothing in it that you see pictures on are custom made illustrations by our wonderful illustrator that works with us, that created the poster and that does all the illustration that you see in the series.
There's a lot of transition shots with this with those illustrations. They're
Yes,
they're very unique. They're pretty cool.
thank you.
I did notice that one of the shirts was the poster. I think it was Robin wearing it, was the poster for the show. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Ooh. Oh, you're the first person that ever noticed that.
Oh,
That shared that
really?
with me. Yeah, there's a couple of little Easter eggs like that of tiny little things, either referencing ourselves or referencing something else. And that's cool that you noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're the writer on this, so that makes this even extra unique. When you were writing this, were there any kind of challenges you had in like creating these voices for these characters?
Well, I think like any writer, one of the main goals is to make sure that each of the characters is unique enough that if you were to switch their names and let them speak, that people recognize something is wrong. You want to build a really unique character, really unique voice. So I spent a lot of time preparing that, and I developed like a Bible and a biography, very detailed biography for each of the characters. So when the actors got it, they know where their character went to school, what's their phobias, what's their guilty pleasures, what's their relationship with their siblings like, when they had their first kiss, sex, everything, everything about the characters, so they can really play off of it. So that took a lot of time to develop all of that.
That's something that being the writer and director, I don't think others have the advantage of. You were able to create these characters with such in-depth background and then go into casting and make sure they fit. You could have just had these people play these out and they would should match up to your script pretty closely. That's very good work on your end.
No, thank you. Well, I think it's one of the advantages when you direct something that you wrote, that you really understand the vision that's behind it. I've mostly done work based on my own scripts, but when I do something else, like a couple of weeks ago, I directed based on someone else's script, and my concern was always, am I meeting the creator's vision, whoever wrote this? Am I translating it into what they would hope for? Because I know that as a writer, I would hope that whatever director gets to direct based on my script will somehow meet my vision. But that's a very hard thing to do, I think.
In this series, you do have some visual effects from the booming voice and from the shadow. Were those hard to master?
So actually, the hardest one to do was the disappearing clothing on Sophie.
Oh,
That
okay.
took that's the shadow one. Our VFX artist spent a lot of time in the shadow. That's true, and I want to recognize him. He spent a lot of time doing it. But the one that is really difficult, and one that we were really happy that people liked and we were recognized for by being nominated for it, was when the clothes disappear on someone, to make it look seamless, to make it look like it's really happening in front of your eyes. That's difficult, especially for such an indie show like we are. If you're working on a really huge budget and you have an army of people working on it, then that's a different story. But we have one or two people working on it, and that's a real challenge.
Yeah, looking back at it, I didn't realize it in the time, and I think that's almost to your benefit that it wasn't so eye popping. And I'm like, how did you guys do that actually? Because that would have been very hard to do. I'm almost like it had to be a practical effect with a special effect on top of it. Did you guys use any practical effects in that?
A little bit. I mean, some of when the shadow is dragging Vicky away, there's a little bit of practical effects there. With the clothes disappearing, I mean, there's a lot of work that the actors had to do, because for us to be able to make the clothes disappear, the actor has to kind of play the scene twice, once with clothing, once without clothing, but they have to do it exactly the same way, down to a millimeter. You have to do the exact same motion like you did before when you had clothes on, otherwise you won't be able to match it together.
Right.
So there was a lot of work done on that.
Oh, that's so much effort. It came out well, obviously.
Thank you. And imagine you're doing and you're naked. That's something that I want to highlight, the work of our actress Anna Sholarova, who's spent a lot of time naked on the set, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it can't be. Not only when you're at work, really, you're trying your best to portray this character's personality, and the whole time you're naked. So it's something that we don't
Yeah.
really have to deal with in life.
And you have 10 people around you pointing, camera, light, sound,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So at when we started, I asked her what would make you feel better, and our DP said, "Do you want the rest of us to get naked also, so you don't feel singled out?" And I was like, "No, no, let's let's not do that." But she said that she actually feels better if we stay clothed, so we did.
Now, okay, that is funny because Harvey says that when he walks in as well. Was that
Yeah,
originally part of the script, or did you add that in?
we added that in. Yeah,
Excellent. That's some good stuff to know behind the
yeah,
scenes. That's
yeah.
great. This was a lot of fun to watch. We have the one season out so far. When do you expect we'd get season two?
So we shot season 2 this August. So now it's in post production, and it'll be coming out at the end of February. We hope it's just being edited now.
Oh, that's not too far away.
No,
I was able to watch this on obbod.com. Is there any other
yes.
locations that you would suggest, or is that the one?
Well, we actually got an offer from Sika TV, which is an American streaming platform, which doesn't charge people to watch movies, but allows them to tip the filmmakers, and we're really excited to join it. So after New Year's, both of the seasons will come out on Sika.tv.
Okay, we'll have those links in the description, guys, too, so you guys can make sure to check this
Perfect.
out. Yeah. Is there any other projects you're working on in the future, or are you going to be focusing on this one?
So we plan to do one more season of Whisper Naked Shadow, which we'll hopefully shoot in the summer 2020. And in the meantime, I'm working on another series that's called New Gold. We're going into principal photography in 2 weeks, actually here in New York. So that's going to be an exciting project as well. It's a little more grim. It's from the future. It's from a world where privacy no longer exists, which I think is very topical now as we are facing a lot of privacy invasions around the world. So mid 2020, you'll look out for New Gold.
New Gold. Okay, when that comes out,
Yeah.
please tag us. We'll make sure to push that as well. That sounds
Okay.
great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to make sure that everybody can follow you on Twitter and all the social medias. So, what is your Twitter account?
So for Twitter, follow Whisper Naked Shadow. And for me, if on Instagram, find me under Who is Nora K.
Who is Nora K? Okay.
Yeah. And you can follow our show on Facebook, just Whisper Naked Shadow everywhere, and you'll find us.
Okay, guys, you heard it here first. To get it out there. Well, thank you again so much for joining us, and we hope to hear again from you, Nora, on your next projects. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.